The main thing that I want to emphasize is that inequities, racial and ethnic inequities in education, are both systemic and systematic. And by systematic, I mean that they're by design. Historically speaking, this is how our predecessors have set up the system by design to be inequitable for different groups of students. And that is what we are still living with today. Once a system is set up in a certain way by design, it's very difficult to undo what our predecessors have done unless we make a very concerted, explicit effort to combat it. We can't just say, oh, this just kind of developed naturally. No, not at all. This was by design. So that's the first thing I want to emphasize. The second thing I want to emphasize, in addition to being systematic, is that it's systemic, meaning this is not unique. These inequities are not unique to any particular school or school district. These inequities are prevalent nationwide. If we were to take a step back and look at all the school districts in the entire country, for example, and make a scatter plot, one plot, put all the districts in one plot based on their average economic situation and the average achievement for students, this is what we would see. Each of these circles represents a school district in the United States, and it's hard to tell because there's so many, but the main thing you need to note is that there is a strong correlation. There's a very clear diagonal, meaning that there's a very strong correlation between the socioeconomic status, is the average socioeconomic status in each school district on the x-axis, and on the y-axis you see the average achievement in the, if it's in the middle, it's about average for the national average, but then it's above, these are, and in terms of grade level. So one grade level above national average, 2 grade levels above national average, and so on. You can see that in Houston, it actually lands right about where we might expect it given its average economic status. So given the economic status, we're just below the national average. But that's the whole district, everybody in the district. If we were to subdivide each of these districts by the race and ethnicity of their students, we see, first of all, there's still that correlation that we saw, the diagonal, where there's a very clear relationship where the higher the economic status, the higher the achievement. That's no surprise. But what this scatter plot shows us, now that we've subdivided the students by their race and ethnicity, we see a very clear pattern, literally a color-coded hierarchy in our nation, where we very systematically see that white students, which are represented by the pink circles, are both on average at a much higher economic status, just like, you know, what Michael was sharing earlier. But that is very strongly correlated with their performance in terms of their educational achievement. Below them, we see the blue circles, those represent Hispanic students. They tend to have a lower economic status and correspondingly lower achievement. And then the lowest we see represented by the green circles. These are Black students who systematically have the lowest economic status and correspondingly the lowest achievement. Statistically speaking, it is pretty much impossible for this to be a result of chance. This is not a result of chance, but rather this is a result of accumulation of very systematic and systemic inequities